board.
Yep, all tied up 1-1. Both players just taking wins in sort of those mirrored matchups. Not mirror matchups, mirrored matchups. Cthulhu Druid wins for both players, and both against Hunters. So now we're sort of with the Druids out of the way. We're sort of down to a best of 5 again.
Yep.
Kind
of watching how that matchup pans out, I'm actually convinced that Hunter is good against Cthulhu Druid anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I thought the deadly shots would be a bit much, but even despite Chakki's early game, he just got stuffed.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, granted, the 2 games that we've seen of it, the Druid hands have been pretty solid. With the ramp, living roots into wild growths, so no unleash is drawn for the Rat, which would have blown that game pretty much wide open, I feel. So I think it's hard to tell. I think it's really close. I still might give a little bit of a nod towards the Druid in that matchup, but the Hunter definitely can hold its own. Deadly shots are a big thing. Even just early pressure can be a big thing if they curve out. So going to move into the next matchup here. It's game number 3. The Rat's going to throw out this Reno combo Warlock, and Chakki is going to play the Zoo.
Yeah, this is a kind of the classic matchup of ignore the fact that your opponent's got AoE spells because they only have one copy of them and really hope that they don't draw them. The Rat has Hellfire in opening hand. This is kind of what we saw from Shoop yesterday, too. When he got into this position, he was able to sweep the board twice and then stabilize with lots of little minions. And so 2 of those tools are in Rat's hand right now. Earthring Farseer and Hellfire providing a lot of utility. I don't think he's hanging on to this Shadow Flame. I think that would be a little bit too much. But Chakki also has a pretty good hand versus Hellfire here with Councilman and the Imp King boss. Now, he's probably going to mulligan at least one of these away. And Abusive Sergeant, not the greatest turn 1 card against this deck, but I know that we are both big proponents of playing it on turn 1 and just starting to get in damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Councilman is priority for sure. And the Rat even keeps Shadow Flame. But to the races. Abusive Sergeant, Knife Juggler, Darkshire Councilman. Nice curve. Maybe fearing Mortal Coil a bit is Chakki. Nope. Good to see.
Just play it, and like you said, start getting in the damage. Rat, I think, just happy to let this play out.
That's a good follow-up to that Darkshire Councilman.
I mean, if this board goes unanswered, Chakki's got the sickest curve. Knife Juggler into Darkshire Councilman into Forbidden Ritual.
Yeah. Typically, Zoo doesn't necessarily want to curve out, but in these matchups in particular, it does. Going wide on the board leaves you vulnerable to Hellfire, where curving into Darkshire Councilman actually gives you some sustainability versus that. And so now it's also kind of like a double threat. Chakki's going to play this Councilman right here, and the Rat's got to think to himself, do I want to Hellfire this board or accept the damage? And since he's drawn Reno Jackson, I think accepting the damage is going to be a consideration for him. But this is scary already for the Rat. That makes it a little less scary.
It's still scary. I mean, he's got all the tools that he wants. He's got AoE. He's got pretty early bodies with Spellbreaker and Earthen Ring Farseer, and he's got Reno Jackson. The thing is, this matchup is still tough despite that.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to get the Councilman under control. It's one of the most important parts of this matchup.
And looks like he just wants to play the Earthen Ring Farseer here.
Yeah, that's going to leave him in quite a bad spot.
Yeah, he's going to take a lot of damage.
I mean, Hellfire, Coin, Soulfire can answer the Councilman, but then you delay the Reno Jackson.
You risk discarding the Reno Jackson.
Yeah, that as well. This is tough. I mean, Chakki doesn't even have to use the Forbidden Ritual next turn. He could just go with the Defender of Argus, trade in the Abusive Sergeant. Just keep going. Yeah.
If he fears AoE, that might be the right choice, because then AoE will come out, he'll reload with the Forbidden Ritual.
This is a lot of damage from Forbidden Ritual, though.
Yeah. I think you trade in with the Abusive Sergeant.
How lucky are you feeling if you're Chakki?
I mean, 3 shots out of 4. And if you don't get that efficiently, getting that efficient damage can sometimes be a big deal. I think the trade in first.
Yep.
Slam the Forbidden Ritual and push
to the
this
races.
damage. Yeah.
I mean, you can see that an Earthen Ring definitely got juggled off there. And the Rat, I mean, this is an uncomfortable Hellfire to say the least. I mean, I think he's got to do it, but look at where he's 11. He's dropping. He's got 5-9. I mean, Chakki might just have. Is this just lethal if he doesn't coin the Soulfire? And if he discards that Reno Jackson, this is 6-1 to discard Reno.
Big deal. Soulfires and gets rid of the Faceless Manipulator. That's probably one of the best options he has to discard in his hand.
Second Councilman's okay here. I mean, not quite what he's looking for. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not Chakki's got the damage to push through this. That Spellbreaker is going to make sure the Councilman doesn't grow out of control.
Yeah. And I think you got to go with that choice. Still just a Reno or a Leroy Jackson away from
Leroy Jackson.
God. They both have like the same Reno, Leroy, Jenkins, Jackson, same syllables.
I'm in Chakki's spot. I'm debating taunting up only this Darkshire Councilman. If he drops Direwolf Alpha and Defender of Argus on it, it's going to become a 3-6. You just connect with the face and it challenges the Spellbreaker outright. And maybe trade with the Spellbreaker to prevent Shadow Flame here. And if that's the case, then you taunt up both and just go face instead. Yeah, but now the Rat with option to Shadow Flame, but this is certainly Reno Jackson here.
Yeah. You trade off, Reno Jackson back up. Let's reset the game.
Now, it's not a total reset because Chakki gets to drop Sea Giant here. And the Rat doesn't have an answer to Sea Giant right now. So Voidwalker, Sea Giant, and Connect for 4 is going to push a lot of damage with that Sea Giant.
Yeah.
So and the Rat is still in a bit of trouble.
Chakki hasn't used many resources as well to get him to this life total. I mean, that was a turn 6 Reno Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of just used his weaker cards. He still has the Power of Overwhelmings left. He's got Leroy Jenkins. He's potentially got a Soulfire left in the build. I almost said Leroy Jackson. Yeah. Reno Jenkins. Yeah, Emperor's Horizon just has to be the drop. And there's not a way to check the. I mean, I guess he could Abusive Sergeant and Power. He could Demon Wrath Abusive Sergeant. No, he doesn't have the mana for that. I was about to say he could clear this board, but he needs 8 mana to clear.
Yeah. Still a decent turn. He's staring at 11 damage. So it's still pretty healthy. Forbidden Ritual, Chakki has seen Hellfire, and the Rat has not tapped that much this game. You know, how likely is he to see a second AoE? It just so happens that the Rat has all the AoE except for Twisting Nether going on in this hand. I mean, first things first, let's get that life tap out of the way. Voidwalker is not the pickup that you're looking for right now.
Well, it's honestly not too bad here. Just anything to keep damage off your Sea Giant, I think is pretty reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's going to force a lot of action from the Rat if he wants to kill this Sea Giant. Game Gang Boss Voidwalker trade into the Abusive Sergeant with the Voidwalker, pushes 10 damage, and kind of isolates those 2 attacks to being exclusively on Voidwalker. And Chakki really concerned with the Emperor. I'm a little bit surprised by this.
Interesting trades, to say the least. Looks like he wants to play the long game here. He's going with... Okay.
6 Swamp Ooze, Defender of Argus, and Shadow Flame. The discounted Shadow Flame is going to sweep this board up. And suddenly the Rat is in fantastic shape.
Yeah.
Whoa!
After the Forbidden Ritual.
Has a Demon Wrath right in the Rat's hand, though. He's drawn all the AoE. This is exactly what we saw from Shoop in his series.
Not really much you can do when your opponent just has all the AoE and the Reno Jackson.
I'll be able to juggle this down.
He could put the Rat's board in a position where it's just vulnerable. I mean, now it just dies. Everything dies to Demon Wrath.
But I mean, you got to clear it out. You cannot let this just connect.
Yeah.
But trade off the Knife Juggler 5 to face is. I mean, maybe he does that, just buys the time, like takes the damage, and then follows up with Demon Wrath Alexstrasza.
Yeah. Maybe he just Alexstrasza's now. It just brings him down to 7. Or sorry, 8. If Alexstrasza sticks, he wins. How does he die from 24?
He doesn't.
Yeah.
That is the answer to that.
Just gonna go for it.
I bring life and
It's gonna be a trade on the Knife Juggler for sure. That 8 out, push
Yeah,
this is lethal for sure.
Chakki's gonna need. I mean, I guess the Voidwalker will stop the attack from the Alexstrasza since he can isolate it.
He can kill the Alexstrasza and the Reno this turn. So still a little bit of a issue here with the client cannot see the discovers you're tracking at the moment. Tracking is kind of like discover 3 cards from your deck.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't create them, just discard the rest. Voidwalker, Voidwalker. Yep, Chakki's gonna look for the damage here. Says if you can find a way to push through, go ahead. But I need to get some gas rolling.
And all of a sudden, Demon Wrath's not looking that great. Won't even touch the Voidwalkers and the Imp Gang boss. And the Rat's got to tap and start looking for more answers.
Big Game Hunter is a dead card right now. Ragnaros. I mean, it's a lot of targets to hit, but next turn it's going to be looking pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can see Chakki power overwhelming and clearing this Alexstrasza here. Maybe now just even Abusive Sergeant Dark Iron Dwarf to clear it.
Mm-hmm.
Second power overwhelming. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 damage. He's getting close.
That's a lot.
I mean, maybe it's just face. Maybe you risk it. Say, hey, if you can kill this 1/3, you got me.
You have to think, like, how often do you win when you trade into this Alexstrasza? How often do you win when you go face?
Well, if he traded with the Alexstrasza, he'd need 1 extra point of damage unless he... even if he chose to trade in the Imp Gang boss, he'd push him to 18 and then have 2 left on board. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. He is going to trade with the Alexstrasza here, leave that extra damage from the Imp Gang boss, and have 2 power overwhelmings. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. The Rat cannot tap unless he feels comfortable doing so. This is really close.
If this Rag doesn't hit a good target, well, I mean, we might have ourselves a game. Good targets here being face, number 1.
I mean, he's
Dark Iron Dwarf, number 2.
I think he's going to have to drop this Ragnaros. I mean, it is a 20% chance to outright win this turn. And is he thinking that Chakki's last 2 cards are power overwhelming? You know, I mean, he's been holding on to one of them for quite a long time, so you could probably put one of them in his hand.
I wonder.
Yeah, it's Ragnaros, and he cannot life tap, I don't think. Here we go. Dark Iron Dwarf's a great target. Second dwarf picked up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 14 damage for Chakki. He's seen Soulfire, so he's free to life tap. And Possessed Villager just adding more fodder to the board for that Ragnaros. Chakki's on the verge of victory here.
Yes, he is.
He's going for it.
What can the Rat pick up that's going to secure him this game?
I don't know. He's used all his AoE. Reno Jackson's gone. He's used the Defender of Argus.
He taps and Rag misses. He's dead to a single power. I mean, he's dead to a single power roaming regardless, it feels. Maybe not if this Rag goes ahead and hits the Dark Iron Dwarf, but maybe Rat feels like he needs to find something more impactful. Twisting Nether could buy him a little bit of time, but then he's dead to Leroy Jenkins.
Steal here with the Sylvanas, like right away, and just hope?
No, he's going for... Looks like he's hovering over that Imp Gang boss. Maybe he could still power woman to Sylvanas, but...
Yeah, he's going for the steal. This is... I think this is smart, but goodness, this is desperate. Here we go. It's the Abusive Sergeant. Needs to big steal here. That's not it. Chakki, despite 3 AoE spells and Reno Jackson, is going to close this game out and take a 2-1 lead. Unbelievable. TJ, I mean, I don't know. The Rat could probably not have drawn a better opening hand, really, for this situation. And on the back of Councilman and Power Overwhelmings and just brute force, Chakki finds a way to win this game. He
force.
Put his faith in the Voidwalkers to absorb damage. He traded at the right time. He went wider on the board just like he was supposed to. He did everything perfectly that game. Chakki could not have played that game better. It would be impossible.
Wow. Impressive stuff. And, I mean, this is one of those reasons why Zoo Warlock is considered favored in this matchup. It's just, even when you have the perfect hand, if you play well, you could still win. And Chakki had a really strong opening, forced the AoE, forced the Reno out early on in the game, and Dev was just able to chip away and eventually draw in enough bursts. It's rare to see that game not end on like turn 5 with Power Overwhelmings if the Reno Warlock draws dead, or with Leroy. But he managed to do it, and that's going to be a 2-1 lead now for Chakki. That lead might be a big deal. He's got Hunter and Warrior left, and some okay matchups across the board. That Warrior deck might be the one that struggles a little bit, but we'll definitely